guys, it's Matt and Joe with VMP's
Hello.
Tuning Tuesday. This is Season 3, Episode 15, for those that are still keeping track. And...
there's a scorecard. They're like...
yes, exactly.
Hey, listen, some people are in quarantine. We're all they have to look forward to.
Matt tuned a Silverado today.
Ugh.
Had audible detonation on the stock tune.
Yes. Bone stock truck.
Yeah.
Rattling so loud you heard it in the shop.
Yeah, I heard it in the shop while he was on the dyno about 400 feet away.
So...
pretty bad.
not sure where homie got his gas. He couldn't remember. I was like, wherever you got gas from, never get it there again.
Costco.
Costco's using it that bad because it's a high turnover rate.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, cheapest gas he could find is where he got it.
I don't know. It was pretty bad. But we got it fixed.
Mm-hmm. Fixed.
Water, 1 gallon gas.
It's very possible.
Even then, I don't think water would in and of itself induce detonation.
That was definitely a first in my life where I had to put butane in on an 80 in a stock tuned vehicle.
Yeah.
So
Terrible.
it was pretty bad, but we got it fixed. Picked up like 150 horsepower just because it didn't have 0 degrees of timing because it was all over the NOx sensors.
Stupid stuff.
So, but that's all fixed.
Moral of the story is don't put 87 in your car even if it's stock.
I want somebody to explain what that hashtag is.
And then,
I've seen it like 3 times today.
What else we
on
got?
social media.
horseplay.
Find out what that hashtag is.
I don't know what that hashtag is.
Ask him. Make him tell us.
Horseplay monitoring. What does your hashtag mean?
Food.
Decibel something squad? Decibel squad?
I think it's a group of people, but it's been showing up on social. I'd like to know what it is.
I don't know.
We shall find out.
Was it Melvin Vega? Hi there, Matt and Joe. Hello. And
No, I scroll past.
now you scroll past. He's gone. He is gone.
So,
It's all gone. What do we got on the pipeline? What are you doing?
Tuning shit.
Funny. So
Yeah.
am I.
It's weird, isn't it?
There's an airborne in this room. Tuning.
I tuned 3-valve yesterday.
You did tune all the 3 valves.
Yep.
The 5.4 3-valve
5.4
with
swap,
blowers
3
sticking through the
valve
hoods.
with an M90 that had a cog drive.
A cog drive M90.
Yeah.
I got to start on the Jeep soon. Does that count?
Yeah, I guess that counts. So,
Okay.
for those that don't know, we're
Yes.
tuning and supercharging Jeeps now.
Yep. We have a Magnuson kit on a JK. That.
Or is it a JL?
I don't know.
Is it the
I
JL
don't-
kit on a JK?
I don't know.
JK kit on a JL, I think so.
Okay.
I don't speak Jeep. I just
Neither
tune
do
it.
But I'm going off what I've heard other people say.
It's a
I know what the
Wrangler, for
inside of
those
the
that are
computer looks
wondering.
like. That's all that matters. Other than
Luma Venom charged prints. Good evening, Pam. Good evening.
What?
Good evening back to you, fam.
Yeah. Travis Shot, Derek Barron Production Squad is what it stands for.
Oh.
I still don't know who that is.
The social media guy knows. Who's the next one?
Yeah. Horseplay monitoring DB.
Derek Barron Productions wants to collab with you all over 100,000 subscribers.
Oh.
Sweet.
Well then,
That's
collaborate and listen.
Yeah. But stop first.
Should we stop first?
Yes.
Yeah,
Always.
definitely stop
Or when
first.
we stop, is it in the name of love?
No, you always stop before you collaborate and listen.
Before you break your block?
hmm
Okay.
Always.
Is it hammer time?
What? No.
I think the VMP OnlyFans account has more than 100,000 subscribers. Oh, mother.
It's just like pictures of rotor packs.
Yeah. Empty cases.
Fully exposed.
Oh, I get it. Would that be like a rotor? Would that be like one of our superchargers without the black coating, just in the raw aluminum?
Yeah.
I get it.
definitely raw.
Old Gen 1 pictures.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
So then you couldn't have pictures of Odin in there. It's too young.
Brutal. Sounds like a minor problem.
The real question is, what does the NSFL account looks like?
Ooh.
Let's move on.
He said, let's move on.
John Smith, I really want to see an 18 up Coyote with the MT82 with full bolt-on Cobra Jet setup with rate reduction, 456 gears. Wonder what they run in the quarter, probably 10s.
Yep.
Melvin Vega, what cams are recommended with a VMP Gen 2R, 680 Gen 1 Mustang GT forged
I
and
don't.
forged internals? Stock cams, unless you're looking to do crazy shit.
Yeah,
If
unless
you
you're trying to
crazy
make
shit,
yeah.
then put crazy shit
If
cams.
you're trying to make over 1,000, we'll put some cams in it. Otherwise, leave the cams in it.
Yep. Root beer. If you add a habanero to the secret sauce, is it now secret sauce spicy sauce? No, that would imply that habanero would make it spicier. even
It
though
is
we toned
already
it
too
down.
spicy.
Yeah.
Oh, habanero would water it down?
Yeah.
Because it's already too spicy.
It's already spicy.
It is spicy.
John Smith, should be fun to drive around town too. Yeah, I'm sure it would be.
I don't know about the 456 gear thing though.
I don't like driving fucking tractors. I don't know about you. I don't want to shift every 10 feet.
God.
Joe was on fire today.
That was the.
all the bad.
But that was
Well,
what you did. You remember the
You could start in
Like
third
if you
gear.
had a 98 Cobra, listen, if you had a 98 Cobra, that's the first thing you did was 456s.
Get out of here.
Do you know how many 456s I put in Cobras back in the day?
You'd have to spend $8,500 to get a decent trap speed out of it.
It didn't matter. The thing only trapped 90 miles an hour to begin
I'm
with.
saying this. You'd have to spend $8,500 in like fifth gear to get a decent trap speed out
Oh,
of it.
absolutely. Who the hell wants to throw fifth in the quarter?
Although I guess it's an 18 up, so fourth gear. We'll go fourth gear. Because you'll need it if you're running quarter.
Do we
Horseplay motoring.
do we turn two valves? Oh
Yeah,
God,
we
do
do.
we? I feel like we have got more two valves in the past 2 to 3 months than we did all of last year. Because I know that that's almost in my entire tuning queue is two valves. So
Merp.
yeah, we definitely do two valves. I think what it is all the two valve guys told their friends.
No, all the other email tuners told everybody they're not tuning turds anymore.
Two valve. Shh, you might offend them.
So now we have to do them all.
Two valve people have feelings too, okay?
R4, about to start my 5.8 in my SN95 Cobra swap. I don't have AC and running an EMP. Is it better to have more belt wrap, or could I run a belt from the balancer through the tensioner to the blower only? 5.8 what?
I'm going
And then we'll go from there. And then that's all you.
Daniel 30, San Lipica, how do I make a twin turbo vet fast? I have no idea.
Oh, bother.
It's that whole weird weight distribution thing in them.
Wait till you see this one, Joe.
Oh, Jesus, here it comes.
Incoming from Brian. What do we got? Happen to like my turd.
See? See? As I said, two valves have feelings too.
Man.
Listen.
I remember when 230 horsepower was fun.
Listen, but that's all we had, Joe, okay?
I have a 2-valve. I'm the only one in this room that still owns a 2-valve.
Right,
Right.
but collective number of years, who's owned one longer?
Do you really want to get into that?
Yeah, because I have owned a two valve from 2003 all the way until, if you count the Lightning, because I got rid of one to get the Lightning, so there was no break there, till 2010 is when I got rid of my Lightning. So I had a two valve for 7 years.
I'm probably right there at 7 years.
Okay.
Because I had one of my Crown Vics for like 2 years. I've had this Crown Vic for like 3 years. And
No, I've never-
I had my 01 GT for almost 2 years.
Yeah,
So I'm like right there with you.
sad.
Mm-hmm.
I never had a Crown Vic.
I've had 2. Travis Shot, a feather in the cap for getting to tune Joey Logano's Coyote Swap Mach 1. Definitely sweet build. Yeah, it was sweet. I was really disappointed they went with a low compression illuminator, but it's the world we live in.
It is.
Yeah.
That was the one that you did,
Yeah.
right? God, that thing was gorgeous.
Yeah. As far as that model year Mach 1s, that is the nicest one I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know. I was out there. I was underneath it. And
Yeah, that's like, yo, can I get a quote on you guys doing one for me? Damn.
I was underneath there. I was under it. I'm taking pictures on the underside. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Look for our videos soon. Our videos come out soon on that car.
Yeah, our video will be dropping soon on the car that Galpin Autosport did for Joey Logano for Discovery Channel.
Yeah, I went and talked to the
What's
guy.
that show's name?
That I don't know.
Driven?
The show that's on Discovery that has cars.
I talked to the guy and I was like, hey, you guys do this? I was like, you guys do this for like other people?
For peasants?
Yeah. And he's like, you can't afford me. And I was like,
I'm from California.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got to pay the California tax.
Yeah, John Smith, 4th gear in the new D4 MT82 go up past 130 miles an hour at 8,000 RPM with a 26.2-inch tire, I'll have to second check my math. I can do that for you.
Oh, he has the math with some more math already open. So I used that today for the tire calculator on the truck.
I don't know why you'd run a 26-inch tire with 456s though.
Because he's trying to get more gear. He's
More,
trying to get them 480s.
Torque
Okay?
multiplication.
I remember people trying to do 480s and 98 Cobras, by the way.
1819 MT82.
Car keys.
We'll
Car
go ahead and grab
keys.
that. Bring it up here, and we'll go 8,000.
8,000.
Oh, sad.
What are you doing? All the things?
I'm just gonna hang out here. You guys can wait.
He said you guys can wait.
Talk amongst yourself.
Yeah, just get some questions going.
Don't forget. Wait, I would say don't forget, Brian. You have to come up with your question
I
today.
know, I opened mine.
So we'll consider that a little too short because that's a 26.43.
You have already?
55,
Oh wow.
40, 19.
What else is going on around here?
We'll go with a 456.
We've been busy. We got all kinds of stuff coming and going.
8,000 RPM in fourth gear and an 18 MT82 with a 26.46-inch tire, accounting for the squeeze the tire gets when weight's on it. It's about 138 mile an hour.
Yeah. Which is more than it will ever do on motor, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Do it. Do some 480s, 512s.
Stupid.
Crawl rocks.
5.8 GT500 with a Gen 3, and that's R4's question, which was up
Yes,
here.
he's doing
he's doing a 5.8 GT500 engine and an SN95 Cobra. Says he doesn't have AC and he's running an EWP.
Something pump? Water pump? Electric water pump.
Okay. I was thinking EMP, as in the intercooler water pump that a lot of people run to. But yeah, I could see that. Is it better to have more belt wrap, or could I run a belt from the balancer through the tensioner for the blower only? So those are two different systems on a GT500. The accessory belt runs the water pump. The blower belt runs the blower, so don't really concern yourself with that. Unless he's talking about the AC portion of it. So if you're talking about the AC portion of it,
you don't need that much belt wrap on an AC.
Well, he doesn't have AC.
Oh.
So that's what he's getting at.
Oh, he's saying can he
So
bypass?
if I were you, I would put a AC delete pulley on there, only because you're gonna get more effective range out of the tensioner if you have the belt going around both sides of it.
Oh, yeah.
For each movement that the tensioner arm makes, it's going to have a lot more of an effect than if it doesn't go all the way around it and back down. And
You're not wrong. You gotta scroll down.
Yeah, because I'm like, wait, we already did all these, but
Right.
it makes sense now. And Dan Adam CYZK. That actually happened to me with my 04. Lund said they were finished tuning Cobras, so I called y'all. Great experience so far. Glad to hear, sir.
Thank you.
Joel Steen, what would cause a PO300, PO08A code low pressure on a 2,400 mile 19 GT with a RAS supercharger car under watt? Great codes, the car runs fine. One day later, they come back on.
The fuel pump is not putting out enough, the lift pump.
Yeah, which is kind of what they do stock.
Yeah, they're technically out of pump stock, and so if you have a pump that is even 10% off from where it should be, it's probably going to throw that code.
Yeah,
I'd put a booster pump,
PO300 means that you have a misfire. So
which is not good.
I try and figure out why.
You had to figure out your misfire, and I put a booster pump on it.
Yeah. Melvin Vega, thanks a lot, guys. That's what keeps me watching your show. Straight answers, awesome.
We
Thanks,
try.
Melvin. Horseplay motoring, what's been your favorite build to tune?
Ooh, there have been so many.
You guys should just have a stop
I don't know.
answer for this.
Grant's car is probably my favorite car I've tuned.
Why is that though?
200 shot, 1300 wheel GT500, still with a man pedal.
That sounds tasty.
It's very spicy. So as long as you can handle spice, it's good, but you just got to be ready for the hit.
I like challenging stuff. I don't know if I've got so many. I think some of my favorite stuff has been either the twin turbo Demon for gearhead or the twin turbo all-wheel drive Hellcat for gearhead for SEMA last year. One of those two. They were very challenging but very rewarding after it was all said and done. So.
Oh, yeah. 0050, getting my blower from y'all this week, I hope. Pumped to get all the boost flowing. Great. Boost is a beautiful thing.
It is.
Travis Shaw, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back to add some boost or has some other kind of plan with it down the road, with it being low compression. Yeah, I kind of told them where they could go with the car. And we'll see if they go there. John Smith, if you get a Gen 3 5.2 and an S197, would you just put the knock sensors back in their original positions, even with the extra knock sensor bosses? Yeah, I would. The knock sensor calibration is based around them being in those positions. How the block affects the dynamics of that is kind of another debate, but
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
that's a whole other ball game right there.
David Decker.
Can you imagine having to calibrate
day,
knock
guys.
sensors?
It would. It takes so much time.
God.
Unless you're just doing the close enough method.
Yeah, I get it.
You mean off?
Not that method. That's the super easy method. David Decker, good day, guys.
That's that LS1 tuning.
Say I have a 2017 Roush RS3 and over the winter I did your 730 horsepower kit, loving the new power. Should my N-Gauge be able to log MAF and boost? My N-Gauge sees MAF, but I can't select the PID. And would a resonator delete affect the tuning? So the 15 to 17 Roush cars, the resonator delete if you're talking about the exhaust because they don't have an intake resonator. Those do not affect the tuning. As far as the N-Gauge goes, not being able to select the MAF PID, that doesn't make sense. Are you trying to select it when you're in the screen starring parameters? Because if you're in the screen starring parameters, you probably have too many parameters selected, and that's why it wouldn't allow you to select it. So you got to go and find a parameter that you don't actually need and deselect that and then select the one that you do need. And you also have to keep in mind if you're talking about when you're selecting parameters from the gauges screen, all the screens that you scroll through, the 4 screens you have to choose from, any parameter that is visible on that screen is something that's logged regardless of whether or not you have it starred. And
Matthew Gordon, need a supercharger kit for a 6.4 Hemi. Well,
I can tell you which ones not to buy, but I can also tell you which ones are good.
yeah, if I had, see, that's kind of a trade-off. So the only two to really go to are you don't have a whole lot of options. You've got a Whipple. So the Magnuson makes one, but it's the 2.3. And in my opinion, it is entirely too small for the 6.4. It only.
But what about a stock 6.4?
Well,
Like something that doesn't have decent rods and pistons in it.
correct.
Probably looking for 10 to 12 pounds tops.
Well, Magnuson makes 5.
Oh,
So
well then. I guess it's significant.
it won't. It'll barely make. It'll barely make 500 to the tire,
So
even if you
Magnuson
pull
needs
it.
to make the 2650.
Yeah, we've talked about that. So basically, with a 6.4 Hemi, you pretty much only have 2 options. You've got a Whipple, which most people I would say go with. The problem with the Whipples, they don't have the greatest intake air temps, but they work well on a stock stuff. And then your second option would be a Procharger. The Procharger stuff isn't bad for the 6.4. It's got manageable IATs. It's a different kind of power band, but the Procharger stuff works well for the 6.4s. Your third option is Hellion has a low mount twin turbo kit that Mario's done a couple of those over at Gearhead. They seem to work really, really well. So, of course, especially, I kind of like the turbo kit option on those cars because they are such a fragile piston that you can, 600 on a blower car is not as hard as stuff as 600 on a turbo, or I'm sorry.
Vice versa.
Vice versa. 600 on a turbo car is easier on parts than 600 on a blower car. But that being said, as far as superchargers, you pretty much only have a Whipple and a Procharger to pick from. I kind of like the Prochargers personally, just because of the intake air temp point of view.
Yeah.
But it's also a big, heavy car, and that big low end, all that torque at 3,000 RPM kind of comes in handy. So it's a trade-off.
We got Root Beer. What intake would you guys recommend for 600 wheel horsepower NA? Plasma Man and Frankenstein make nice intakes, but I can't find any dyno runs for them NA. I don't know of any intake for 600 wheel naturally aspirated.
I would probably just say some kind of Cobra
I'd probably
Jet.
do Cobra Jet.
I mean, that's what that thing is designed to do.
Yeah.
And then you also got to take into account the weight. The Plasman's billet aluminum. That thing is heavy compared to a plastic Cobra Jet. So there's that as well.
Plastic Cobra Jet for the win.
I would. I mean, that's what it was made for.
What will my 14 make on Gen 2R lowest possible boost level? Off-road H, only mod outside suspension. So
What is the lowest possible boost?
it'd be an 88 millimeter pulley on a 14 GT with a Gen 2R. It'd make less power than a stock Roush car does. Because it.
What if you went with an underdrive pulley?
Oh no.
An NA pulley on an 88.
No offense, dude, but that's the silliest question I've had in a long time.
Well, I mean,
What's the lowest possible boost level I can run?
I would say.
How about you
6?
get a 100 shot and you just run that?
6 pounds, probably.
With a 2300, you could probably get it down to. It'd probably still be 7 pounds.
All right, 7 pounds.
On a 88 millimeter.
Maybe he's
pulley.
got a 91 octane or something. Maybe. Listen, don't judge. Maybe he lives at negative 4,000 feet, and like he's under the ocean.
Maybe he lives at the bottom of the Marianas Trench
Yeah.
and he drives his car daily on
Exactly.
87 octane.
Right.
Lives in his coyote under the sea.
See?
I can chat.
I like it.
Anyway, the
I
lowest
like it.
possible boost, 7 psi. I don't know why you want lowest possible boost, but I don't judge.
Yeah, I think that's silly. But we'll carry on. This is only slightly judgment-free zone.
No, Joe judges.
Yeah. Judgmental Joe 101.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. Have we got anything else, B-Rye?
There's one more question on
Okay.
On YouTube. I'm on YouTube? Yay.
old school question. There you go.
What? Ooh.
All right, so John Smith, Ford 460 big block or a 4-weight Windsor in a 70 terrain?
I know my answer right off the bat.
Let's hear it.
408.
I'm in the same boat.
408 Windsor simply because the 408 Windsor weighs like half of what the 460 does.
Yeah.
Plus, you can spin a Windsor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan
And if
of
it's a 408, you probably have a decent crank and rod package in it already.
Yeah, well, the thing is, that's such a common, so a
Well, how many people are going to do a hyperetic piston or hypereutectic piston?
yes, it's going to be a cast crank and an
Yeah.
eagle cast rod with
Yeah.
bolts, and so, depending on what you're doing to it, but,
No,
because a
Corilla rods.
408 is what, that's a stock bore, 408 is, the stock bore is at 30 over with a stroker.
I don't know one.
I think it's stock
Crush
bore.
it.
I think 408 is a stock bore, and then with a stroker, so it's like a 3. I think it's a 4-inch stroke with a stock bore, if I remember
I
right.
got you, homie.
Either way, I'm gonna pick Windsor all day because just from the weight, it's easier to fit. Parts are more readily available. Parts are cheaper, and because a Windsor is a tall deck 302, so there's that. They're not going to tell you on there. 430 over with a 4-inch stroke. I was right. I said it's either stock bore or 30 over with a 4-inch stroke.
There she blows,
Yep.
Captain.
So just from it's again recap. It's lighter, it's smaller, and it's
You
cheaper.
can get a 408 crate engine for $6,200.
I bet it's high quality.
PSS and pray.
It's got the Edelbrock E Street heads,
Yeah.
Scorpion rockers, a cast crank.
It needs to be a 13-to-1. It needs to have AFR 225s.
Look at this. Was it 10.5-to-1 on this one?
Cast, yeah, 10
10
to
to
1.
Yeah.
Cast steel crank. Ugh. Idle quality, Lopey.
Now, here's the one you really need.
The Roush Yates one.
Yeah.
You cannot have D3. Oh my God, Joe.
I need it to idle at 800 RPM and run on 91 octane.
Right,
That's like asking how little boost I can run.
right.
Yeah.
Did you see the price tag on said Yates D3 engine?
Yeah, I did. It's cheaper than a built Coyote with a blower.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're correct. I'm
So,
going
just so
back
you
over
guys
here.
know, we're looking at a $16,500
Crate engine from
Yep.
Roush.
Roush Yates D3 crate engine. Yeah.
Daily it.
Yeah, on E85.
Oh.
And that's
NASCAR?
827 horsepower, 555 pound-feet.
It better have a 4-speed, that's what I'm going to say.
I have one in my garage. Does that count?
Alignment set up for right turns.
Nah, we'll use it to power a hybrid motor.
Put it on. Might explode.
Jesus. like a diesel locomotive. We just use
Yeah.
we use the Yates motor to power a generator that powers the electric drive motors.
How funny would that be?
I hope it
Like roll up in a Prius that just has a Roush Yates motor powering
a small
basically
generator.
applying as a generator to the electric motor. Man, this thing was haul ass.
And then you get rid of the batteries. I like it.
Imagine you just roll up to a light and it goes into charge mode. It's just like it takes off like a normal Prius.
This is why
Like it kills the motor when you
Yep.
drive off.
this is why Joe and I don't design cars.
Oh, it would be so much fun.
Did you see? Speaking of the devil, did you see that someone on
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace? Do you see the Mitsubishi Eclipse that someone converted to all electric, and they're selling it for like $1,500? It's an all electric second gen Mitsubishi Eclipse.
I'm down.
It's got a big old traction motor bolted right to the factory 5-speed manual, and then a whole bunch of batteries.
So it's got gears too. So
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, and it's cheap. So I thought it was pretty cool. Someone put a lot of work into it.
I'm with it. Let's do it. And then Ono50, reason I asked about lowest possible boost level on Gen 2R was I have a friend with a Gen 3 lowest boost possible. It made 680 wheel. Just curious, I'm guessing I'll be around 630 to 650 wheel on a Gen 1. No, wrong.
Yeah.
So how much power it makes isn't necessarily, it is commensurate with boost, but it also has a factor of timing that you can throw into that equation. If you want to limit boost on 11 to 14 car, I can actually command the throttle to not open all the way.
Facts.
So
You could also run low timing. You don't necessarily have to
Yeah.
run low boost. You could run low timing. You
Yep.
could run.
you can run
8
super conservative.
You can run 8 psi and only run it at 14 degrees, and it'll be low on power,
Yeah.
and it'll live forever.
Yep.
So there's ways, more than one way to skin a cat.
Yep.
Poor cat.
I know, right? Oh man.
Uh-oh.
Daryl Shaw. So I saw on Burnout Box, Justin.
Garrett
Oh, my bad. Garrett Shaw. So I saw on Burnout Box, Justin said Odin would work on other cars besides the 18 up, but the main focus is the 18 up Coyote. Would it make sense to do so, to not do the Gen 3 secret sauce and figure out doing an Odin instead? Just a random question. I know Odin's cooling seems to be way better.
I want someone to just do it and document it.
Yeah, so he's, if I'm thinking of the right person, him and his son are bringing their cars down. They both want to do built motors, go crazy setups.
Oh, so we can do it here.
Yeah.
Do it.
You could. Like you alluded to, the cooling is a bit better with Odin than it was on the previous generation stuff, the blow down stuff. Whether or not it's worth it's entirely up to you. That's an expensive blower to rebuy for cooler IATs. The power potential should be similar between the two blowers. One of them, you'll just be running around with cooler IATs. So
Which
that's
isn't a bad thing.
No, it's not.
One could argue that having one here would be the best way to test.
One could also argue you could just do an intercooler upgrade and water pump upgrade on the other setup and
Yes,
reap
but
the benefits of such.
it's only a matter of time before somebody tries it. Let's face it. Somebody is going to try and put an Odin on an older Gen 1 or Gen 2. So, might as well be us. Look at this guy over here. See?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
all right, well,
One day. Hey guys, does VMP still offer the throttle body supercharger head unit trade-in? I do not know. You'd have to reach out to sales for that.
I think. Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Contact sales at VMP.
They're telling me yes, so yes.
Contact sales at VMPperformance.com. That was not scripted whatsoever.
Oh no, 50 seems like a lot for a Gen 1 motor.
No.
So in the grand scheme of how many 11 to 14 cars I've tuned, the amount that have actually had issues is relatively low.
Yeah.
And that number goes down even more so if you're talking about reasonable boost 93 octane cars where people didn't want to go crazy with it. Most of the time I see failures in 11 to 14 cars. It's guys that want to play with fire and they want to put on an E85 and they want to run 14 pounds of boost.
Yes.
Those are the guys that have problems 9 times out of 10.
I have only had, personally, in my tuning career, I have only had 2 Gen 1 engines fail on customers' cars. One was because the guy stuffed a cat, and it ate a piston on that bank. And then the other one was somebody that was making 720 to the tire, and it lasted 2.5 years before it finally let go.
Yep.
So after 2.5 years of being 720 the tire, it broke a rod. Ironically, while just driving. Like
That's how it happens.
was not beating on it. Like
first, I
literally
thought-
just was. He had his cruise control on and it just went poof, and that was that.
At first, I thought it was people bullshitting me
Yeah.
because, like, what were you doing when it broke? No, I was just driving it. No, you weren't. Like, you don't have to lie to me.
he was.
No, like, I've had it.
Like, I like carnage. Tell me the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
No, homie was like, dude, I left the gas station and I set the cruise control and it just poof, that was it. I'm like, huh.
I did.
It didn't happen at the track weeks ago when you were beating the. No.
I had a T5 do that to me once. Just grenaded itself, locked up at 40 mile an hour. It ate all the teeth off the input drive gear on the end of the input shaft, and just like locked in the reins. It was like, oh.
My theory is that that going on the track, you end up bending the rods, but it still runs perfectly fine. So they're at this point in time they're fatigued, and then just normal driving, they're bending more and more and more, and then it finally just breaks. So that's my theory behind it. Like kind of like once you get it to move, it gets easier and easier to bend, kind of thing. So
Paperclip theory.
yeah.
Yep.
So that's the long version of I've only had two engines fail me since the Coyote came out in 2011. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. It does happen and it can happen, but it's not that common. Just keep good gas in it, for the love of God.
Yeah, and keep boost reasonable and don't.
Keep
the
IATs
star.
reasonable, keep boost reasonable, keep good gas in it. It'll be fine.
Yep. Low to high. Thinking about boosting my 17 GT350. How much power could I make safely with a stock motor without things breaking? I don't know.
Well,
Those
these
things
are
blow up stock, so.
yeah. Well, that motor. Well, your other issue is
So there's that.
that's a port. Well, that's a port injection motor. That's 12 to 1.
It's a port injection 12-to-1 motor with a flat plane crank.
Right. So right off the bat, you're going to be fuel limited.
Yeah.
That being said, usually I see quite a few people doing over 800-ish.
Not on pump gas.
Not on pump gas. No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
If you were on E85, I would be fine with pushing one to 800.
I dislike when people are like, how much more power can I add to my stock car without braking? Dude, they break stock.
Wait, you parentheses. My stock
Yeah.
parentheses. My stock car that Ford spent millions of dollars paying engineers to torture test and design to be adequate at this power level.
Yep. That. Like, I don't mean that in a mean way. It's frustrating that you try to use safe
Right.
in that same sentence. So safe is stock, and they still blow up there.
Anytime you mod a car, you are signing the agreement.
You're lighting the candle with a blowtorch. How long the candle lasts
Yep.
is a different matter entirely. John Hall, now you got this one.
I've got a question. Gen 3R is at the end. Is the end all be all for the foreseeable future and a 17 to 14 GT500 correct? Don't want buyer's remorse for the Gen 3R with DFT.
What's DFT?
I don't know what DFT is.
The secret sauce, the special stuff from Magnuson, DFT technology.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I don't know. I didn't know we put a different acronym on it.
Yes, Gen 3R is the end all be all for the foreseeable future. I don't see us coming out with a Gen 4 or anything like that in the foreseeable future, because the Gen 3R I can almost say we haven't found the limit of it yet.
Right now we have 2650. What else are we going to do with it right now?
Right.
Sorry. That's all we got.
And we also haven't found the limit of it yet.
Yeah.
There's still
cars making more and more power.
Right. There's still cars making
And
more
I
and
mean,
more
hell,
power. We're finding better intercoolers for them. I mean.
So we'll call the current ceiling like what we've seen mid to high 1200s wheel.
Yes.
On GT500s. Is that not good enough for you?
Yeah.
If that's not good enough for you, then yeah, maybe wait like a few years, 5 maybe, and maybe there'll be something new. Maybe there won't be.
Are you not entertained?
But if 1200 wheel is good for you, then yeah, you can
it's
grow all the way into that blower.
Then it's the end all be all for sure.
Yeah. Rick Singer, great products, guys. Installing a Gen 3 booster pump FIC 1000s on my GT500. Can't wait to feel the power.
Boy, it's going to change your life.
Yeah. Depending on what's currently done to it, it should be a pretty drastic difference.
Well, I'm going to assume it's a stock blower car, and he's changing to a Gen 3 with a booster pump and FIC 1000, so it's going to change his life.
If we make that assumption, yes.
Yeah, we're adding 200 horsepower to that car.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Exactly. Exactly.
He's gonna love it.
All right, you guys want to do my question?
Yes.
Wrap this thing up?
Fire away, B-Rod.
Why are you trying to cut us off, Brian?
Because we're at 35 minutes.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel?
What?
What?
Sign the check, bro.
I'm always trying to get Brian to fight me.
Yeah, constantly.
Brian is the nicest, most mild-mannered, positive person in the company, so I naturally want to mess with him constantly. I'm going to turn him into a mean person.
Like, even my tattoos are super positive. All
Yes.
will be well, the pain will go away. Like,
He's-
I'm the most positive person.
He is. He's just a happy-go-lucky, and I'm over here like, fight me.
Like, Matt is such a jerk, he stole my space bar.
I did. I stole
Not the whole keyboard,
the space bar off of his keyboard one day
just the space bar.
and sent him on a scavenger hunt to find it.
He did. You know what?
That's creative. I like
It
it.
was, like, he sent me on a hunt all over the office. It was behind my speaker.
Well played.
Yeah, pretty good, not bad. So then I hit his
I
whole
like you a little
keyboard.
more, Matt.
I hit his
I
whole
like it.
So yeah, he took my whole keyboard.
So anyway, my question. So Joe, we were talking about Joey Logano's car earlier, right?
Mm.
And I remembered, I thought about this yesterday because Chuckles brought up to me that we were going to be doing. Yeah. It looks funny there. So like, I had to start editing the video, right? And there was like some footage in there where I remember you, Joe, being bummed that it was lower compression,
Correct.
right? Okay, so can you give me like a basic rundown? Why were you so bummed? Like, I think it's 9-1, right?
Yeah, 9.5.
9.5 to 1.
9.5.
Okay, so what does that mean? 9.5 of what to, of 1 to what?
So you have,
The glow.
so you have,
That is your ratio of squeeze, sir.
yeah, so you have an engine, and this engine ingests air. It ingests air by pistons going up and going down.
Right? Uh-huh.
So they ingest a certain amount of air based on how big the bore is and how big the stroke is.
Right.
What is the bore?
The size,
The-
diameter of the cylinder.
The girth.
Okay.
The girth.
Okay.
See,
all right.
speaks the
Girth
girth.
over
Yeah,
length.
you see, these words I know. Girth I know.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
So,
When the piston's at the bottom, you have a cylinder, you have your girth and your length, all right? And then the piston goes back up, and it takes that volume and it squeezes it. So the amount that it squeezes that is your compression ratio. It is your ratio of unsqueezed to squeezed. So if you squeeze it at 9, squeezes it in, you're compressing it to 9 times. If you have it 10-1, it's compressing it down to 10 times. So so the higher the number, the more it's squeezing that
so
air.
it ingests a certain amount of air just based on the bore and stroke.
Okay.
Compression is how much it squeezes the air, like you said.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
So the reason that we were bummed about that is because this isn't really the 1980s anymore, and fuel technology has come a long way.
Right.
Heat management,
NOx sensors and
NOx
wide
sensors,
bands.
wide bands, heat management has come a long way. So on a low compression engine, it takes more boost to make the same amount of power.
Okay.
So
Pre-squeeze.
basically with what they were doing with the car, they kind of shot themselves in the foot because that engine, had it been 11-1 engine, it would have made more power on the exact same combo.
Yep.
Okay. Right. Okay.
So like 10 pounds of boost, 10 pounds of boost, same motor, only difference compression. Let's say you're at MBT on both fuels, you're at maximum brake torque, ignition advance. Probably about 80 to 100 horsepower.
I know it's 100. I've tested it.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's drastic.
Yeah, it's exactly. I can tell you for a fact that on an 800 horsepower supercharged car, 11-1 versus 9.5-1 is worth 100 to the tire. I know this because I did it. Because I myself made that mistake, and I had a stock 11-1 motor and I had it was a Gen 2 and it was making 1100. Or I'm sorry, 800. Jesus, it was making 800 to the tire. I did absolutely nothing but swap the short block, and I re-dynoed it, and it made 700. So I had to take the same, which originally I forget what I was at for boost level, but I had to add 4 pounds of boost to get it back to where it was. And that extra 4 pounds of boost put more stress on the intercooler system.
Sure.
And it just wasn't needed, especially on a car that is not octane limited like an E85 car.
Yeah, if you were trying to run 23 pounds of boost on 93, not something I'd recommend if you can avoid.
Yeah.
If you're at least on Coyote stuff. If you're trying to run 23 pounds of boost on 93, then yeah, 9.5 to 1's a clear choice there. But
Yes.
to me, that's kind of counterintuitive if more octane is available. If you have no available increase in octane anywhere near you, you have no aspirations of ever using boostane or Torco or anything like that, those are situations where decreasing compression makes sense if
Yes.
your primary focus is adding more boost.
Okay.
But if you have an engine that you can get to a decent amount of ignition advance on pump gas with a reasonable amount of boost, just leave it like that.
Correct.
Gotcha. So is it literally because you can? It's kind of like you're leveling up like your motor, right? Like you can only
Yeah.
level up a lower compression one so far.
Correct.
But if you level up with the gas, with the octane and the fuel, then you can just keep going
Correct.
Yeah.
until you run out of octane. I guess.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still something to do.
Correct.
Okay. Makes sense.
So that's it. It's basically just that fuel technology and supercharger technology and NOx sensors and heat management has come so far that the need for low compression engines keeps going. It just keeps getting less and less. We're just to a point where there's almost no need for a low compression engine. It does more detriment than it does good, because in that particular situation, that car would have made more power with an 11 to 1
Yeah.
and still been safe.
So then is his motor still a Coyote?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it just had a different piston in it. It had a dish piston instead of a dome, that's all.
Okay, so that's the only difference there. It's just
Yep.
the piston.
Just the piston.
So then how far do they go up? Like I know like last week, I wrote it down on my little note here on my question, that like I remember 9 to 1 was like, was Joey Logano's, and I remember Joe talking about 11 to 1.
Yep.
And I think last week on the show, Matt, you said something about putting like a 12 to 1 in some cars.
Yeah,
So how far do they go?
well, it depends.
Are we talking about Coyotes? Or
We're
what
talking about
some people doing
Coyotes, or
crazy stuff?
because race
Oh,
car
either
stuff,
one, I guess.
the highest I have personally seen on a piston gasoline engine was 16 to 1. This is like
That's a lot.
This is like big. This is big block Chevy. Yeah, this is 632 bore space, big block Chevy. 1,500, 1,800 naturally aspirated horsepower. Diesels,
Seems naturally aspirated.
naturally aspirated. Diesels, for example, those, because of the way they work, they're totally different than a gasoline-based engine. I've seen 24. I want to say 24 to 1 on a diesel. So, because that's how they work, is they need
Compression ignition.
because a diesel is a compression ignition. So if it actually needs a certain amount of compression, or it won't run, because it relies on that squeeze to
generate the heat
to generate
to
the
flash
heat.
point.
Because there is no spark plug in a diesel. So.
Shut them off by turning on fuel. So they
Yep,
have enough
absolutely.
space.
So I want to say 24 or 25 to 1 is the highest I think I've heard of on a diesel. It might be higher.
That's
I don't
why
know.
diesels can do a thing called runaway.
Yep.
You can't shut them off.
Oh, really?
If they have a
If they have their
source
own
of fuel to burn,
yeah, if they have their
you
own fuel
cannot
source,
shut
you
them
cannot
off.
shut them off.
The head gasket hole starts going in there.
Yep.
Yeah. Or you have,
Or you
get
blow
some
up a
blow-by,
turbo. You
get
blow up
some
a
blow-by
turbo.
and pass some piston rings, and it has just enough on the intake stroke to pull past the rings.
Yep.
Is there
It will eat it.
Get ready. Yep.
Is there any advantage to a diesel? What's the advantage?
Yeah.
Oh, there's all kinds of advantages.
Yeah.
The compression makes a boatload of torque.
Diesel is because of the way it works is a more efficient engine. It gets more power per pound of fuel.
Yeah.
Or more power per pound of fuel, so it's a more efficient engine.
Yeah.
Mostly due to the compression ratio.
Yeah.
Is it better for the environment too? I don't know.
Yeah, because ultimately because it burns less fuel, there's lower emissions.
Mm-hmm.
And it stores longer.
Yeah.
You're gonna
So-
talk us out of business. You can stop.
I'm just saying. Nah, we'll just go into diesel stuff if the world comes to that.
Yeah, bro, you can.
But right now, we're just doing gasoline
I
stuff.
want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, they're magical, mystical.
I know, listen,
Worst comes to worst.
I know just enough about tuning diesels that I bet I could blow one up. Because I know that if you add more, you just keep adding more fuel, they'll keep adding more power until they don't anymore. That's what I know about a diesel.
Alright, so then same with a, so then on a diesel, sorry that we're going so off topic.
That's fine.
Fans of-
They're learning too. They're learning with us.
Absolutely, right. So this just popped into my head because like I hear us talk about it all the time. So I know, so say like we take JD's car, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And like he was.
JD's like, why's it gotta be my car?
Well, just, I don't know, it was just the one that popped in my head. So like,
It's gonna break.
so like it was a gasoline car like
Mhm.
a little while ago. And then we put a fuel system in it and now it can run 85, I think.
Correct.
Not even necessarily a fuel system, just so
We
much
did
as
flex
a.
fuel.
Yeah, we did a flex fuel tune, not a fuel system.
Not a
Correct.
fuel system, But it can run 85
Mhm.
Yes,
because of the flex fuel.
Yep.
correct.
Oh.
But alcohol and gasoline are more closely related than alcohol and diesel is.
Yeah, diesel's a
We go
whole.
for the same reasons.
Okay, so anyway, my question was anyway though,
Mhm.
could you run 85 for a diesel engine?
No,
No,
not.
I'm just asking.
There are tractor pulling tractors.
Mhm.
We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, 240 pounds of boost. Yeah, we're talking big boys. There are people that are running their tractors on alcohol. I don't know anything about it. I don't know how. I just know it is being done. I think they're using it as like a water alcohol injection. I don't want to speak for fact. I don't know. But I do know that some of the big truck pullers and the big crazy semi pulls and stuff are starting to run their stuff on alcohol, yes. So it's doable. They're not adding an ignition system, I know that. So I have a feeling that they're adding
I think
alcohol.
primary fuel is still diesel.
I think the primary fuel is still diesel, and they're using alcohol as a supplement to pull heat out of the chamber, maybe. I don't really know.
Probably very similar to how they run propane tanks on like drag trucks.
Yeah, well, propane is just a way of supplementing
you can
fuel.
use it as a fuel source too.
Yeah, propane is you're adding a supplemental fuel that is not able, if you don't have enough high pressure pump and enough injector in your truck, propane is you're adding extra fuel, which of course, like I said, with a diesel, the more power the more fuel you put in it, the more power it'll make, within
As
reason,
long as
of
you
course.
can match it with airflow.
Well, air is used to cool it.
Yeah,
So
but
that's the
what I'm
trick.
saying.
The boost is there to cool it, to lean it out. But basically, once you run diesel up to a stoic point is when all things start breaking. So,
Wee.
that's when you see all the blackness coming out? Yeah, that's death. So, I think that's about
I
it.
feel like I learned a lot.
That was the best question Brian's ever hit us with.
I know, right?
Bro.
I had follow-ups. My favorite.
Oh, we had follow-ups?
Not his.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an onion.
Yeah, he had some
Bro,
layers
like
to
an
that.
ogre, like
God damn it.
He hit us with that.
No, like my favorite question I ever asked you guys is the one that stuck you. Like neither one of you could come up with a good answer.
Which one was that?
Is how if I'm a newbie to the game, how can I tell like a doofus tuner from like a good tuner?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I like this one better.
Or is it running great?
Yeah, that's hard from the standpoint.
Are you
of
happy?
It's hard to describe how to do that because
Yeah.
in order to know, you almost have to know.
No, why would you blame somebody else?
Hmm.
Bum, bum,
That's
bum.
why I'm glad you're my friend.
Tuners that don't tune their own vehicles.
I was just thinking about that, Joe.
But yeah, if I guess if you guys have any more questions, either write them down in the chat and we'll try to answer them. If not, hit us up next week. Oh, should we do the last two? You just read them off. I got a copy on the sheet.
What life are you guys seeing out of the 10R80 with clutches above 1,000? We have horsepower cars and trucks. I know a lot seem to have to rebuild after 10 to 20 passes.
I'd say that something's wrong if you're only getting 10 to 20 passes
Yeah,
out of it.
the 10R80 is very, very tune sensitive.
Mhm.
Very tune sensitive.
Mhm.
So you can destroy a built trans and you can make a stock trans live a long time,
Mhm.
all depending on how it is tuned.
Yeah.
So
I do not personally have a lot of experience with 1,000 rear horsepower 10R80s.
and I don't
But
either,
with my
honestly.
limited experience, I can say that I know of a couple cars that don't have problems with
Correct.
clutches or needing rebuilds.
Correct.
And yeah,
There's plenty of cars out there making multiple passes.
yeah.
So you should be fine.
And the last one is,
Last question.
he I asked last week about Magnuson's porting for Gen 3R, so I'm curious, what would the difference in power band / power delivery be between the OD kit with Magnuson Stage 2 porting versus Stage 3 porting?
Depends on what blower speed you're turning it. At mild blower speeds around the 11 pound mark. Below 5,000 RPM, the Stage 3 port makes less power. Above 5,000 RPM, Stage 3 port starts making a little bit more power, but does not start to show significant gains till 7,000. My 2 cents for Stage 2 versus Stage 3 would be that if you're going to run under 18 pounds of boost on a consistent level, don't bother getting a Stage 3 ported blower because
Correct.
it's not going to help you through 90% of your pull. And if you are going to be running over 18 pounds of boost, it's a good idea.
What you said?
Yeah, probably better around the 20 pounds.
I'm getting an arrow, and I'm just going to hold the stick up with the arrow that points at Joe.
If we're talking about a 5 liter at least.
I'm just going to be like,
What he said.
Yeah. And Dan, is that the last one? All right. Well, have a good day, guys. We'll see you next week. Oh.
Just real quick, any update on the 18 plus fuel system?
We have it on a car.
Yes.
We're finalizing all of our checks and balances on it. And then we got to get part number together, get all the stuff built out, and then we'll list it.
yep,
Perfect.
it's on its way.
Yep.
Share, subscribe, kids.
Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next week.
Facts.
Tuesday, same time. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.